Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem HaRakakadash. WW3 apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well, and Shalom to the brothers in the way concerning truth. Alright, so you got this on France 24. Russia, Belarus launch massive war games worrying NATO. And yeah, those war games, that's China's fucking hell. Actually, well, is it China as well? I think China might have been doing some out in the sea, and China and Russia have, in the what do you call it? What's it called? South China Sea, and in around, I think it's the Black Sea as well, or maybe it's the Baltic. I can't remember. I'd have to look at a map right now to remember. They've basically been like, doing these war games. Russia's kind of showing like, we're gonna do what we want with the Ukraine, and what do you call it? China's doing the same thing, but with Taiwan, and it's basically like, the U.S. just saying like, what are you gonna do, fam? Let me read it. So, Russia and Belarus formally opened vast joint military drills on Thursday, a week-long exercise across the territories of both countries and in the Baltic Sea that has alarmed some NATO countries. Top military leaders from the two countries attending the opening ceremony of the war games called Zapad 2021. In western Russia, where flags were raised and speeches given. The active part of the exercise, which comes at a time of heightened tensions between the West and Belarus due to a crackdown on the opposition there, begins on Friday and will run until September 16th. The Russian Defense Ministry said in up to 200,000 military personnel, some 80 aircraft and helicopters, up to 15 ships, nearly 300 tanks will take part. The drills will involve live fire and mark the culmination of a bigger 3-month exercise. Military personnel from Armenia, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Mongolia will participate too, the Russian Defense Ministry said. NATO official warned that the drills would follow a huge Russian military build-up on Ukraine's borders, which, they did that, and then and then they just kind of left it. It's funny as hell, because it's, what's it called? Because, remember in, like, Civilization, that game, which is like kind of like a strategy game where you'll kind of just have a bunch of different countries, and then you'll essentially be like vying for control through different means. So like if a guy is looking to go to war, you'll just start seeing his military just pop up near your near your borders, and then you got to go and either check him or just say like, yo, what's going on, or come to some form of agreement. But it's like everyone knows exactly what the fuck's going on, especially because Crimea is a thing, man, that got absorbed. So yeah, and which follow a huge Russian military buildup on Ukraine's borders earlier this year, increase the risk, of an accident or miscalculation that could touch off a crisis. Yeah, I think there was a guy that died, like one of their generals died in a, what was it called? In like exercises they were doing. But, so yeah. A round could just go flying into enemy territory, something could get kicked off. But it's showing. These guys are obviously flexing muscle, flexing bicep on they're basically on Europe. And they just finished their pipeline as well, the gas pipeline. I think the one that goes into Europe. So now European interests are going to want Russia, want to keep Russia sweet. But we'll see. Early shit increased the risk. So, Russian Deputy Defense Minister Nikolai Pankov said the drills are purely defensive in nature and would give Moscow and Minsk a chance to improve the way their respective militaries work together. Analysts say Minsk's involvement highlights increasingly close ties between it and Moscow. The Kremlin has proved a vital ally for Belarus after the West imposed sanctions on Minsk after a violent crackdown that followed a contested election which gave President Alexei Lukashenko his 6th term in... Yeah, man said the 6th term, you know. Lukashenko has gone from not really willing to participate in the drills back in 2017 to being one of the most boastful in a way that about how important this exercise is in terms of intimidation that it represents against the West, said Mathieu Boulige, a research fellow at the Chatham House think tank. Thursday's ceremony coincides with talks between Russian President Putin and Lukashenko in the Kremlin. So yeah, they're being being strong-armed, so to speak, into dealing with being strong-armed into dealing with what's it called, man? With Russia on that level, and their military on that level. Because why? This is spirit of the times. It's building up to that third world war, man. That third world that's spoken of in Revelation. And as such, that's why all, chiefly Russia is contending with the US, but they've given the space for what the hell they're called, China. They've given the space for China, to step up, and they've given the space for China to step up, and various other countries, man, Syria, Iran in the Middle East, and essentially it's the spirit of how this conflict's gonna go is gonna result in the end. Everyone's gonna turn on America, and this is a result. Okay, let me read this. Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles: prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Let me read that again. Proclaim this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And that's what we've been witnessing. This is the thing as well, is even from like World War One, World War Two, how those went down, is really changed. Because through the Cold War, that's where you had proxy wars come in. That's where you had espionage. That's where you had it basically go beneath the surface of just going out and straight just being like, okay, yeah, let's just go fucking kill it. Let's just send the armies in and just go blow all the shit up. Especially with nukes on the table, then it cooled down to where it's like, okay, smaller scale conflicts. You had like Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan, just that shit took forever. But it's essentially where Russian interests versus American interests in various different locations. But this is rousing up to that that third world war, and as such, that's why everyone's getting into that martial military mindset. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what you got. You got hella small ass little print. Have you seen Belarus, man? That shit is barely existent. That's because a lot of those former Soviet states, they just broke off into tiny little, tiny little countries and shit. They just split up all various different ways. But then what? All of those are basically contending against America and the West. Because why? The spirit's being put on them. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen. Gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Most High. Yeah? Cause everyone's being drawn in to that conflict. Because why? It's for the sake of prophecy, man. This is going to be the war to end all wars, man. It's going to take place, and it's going to be done. So after it, that's when all those swords are going to be beaten into farming implements, man. And all the heathen are basically going to be put to work, reconstructing the earth, man, and building up the kingdom of heaven. But for now, this is about that war, that third war. So it says what? Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Yeah? That valley of Yahweh's judgment. Down there in the Middle East, that's where it's going to go down. That you're going to have that mass scale conflict. And it's going to be a global conflict where everyone gets involved. Because it says, hey, the amount of people that are going to die is going to be immense. Let the heathen be wakened and put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Yeah, that's what's going down. You got a mass level of death and destruction is gonna be going down. Well, it's gonna be going down. Why? Because what this system, what Esau's rulership has done, is ruled wrathfully and in complete and total wickedness, man. And that wrath's extended primarily to the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, who are the Israelites according to the Bible, where Esau basically fulfilled the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28, where it was like you'll go into captivity and basically worship wood and stone. They'll come from a far place. That was fulfilled, but then Esau took it above and beyond where it needed to go. And that wrath is extended to the heathen. It's extended to his own people. Esau's own people are all in a tizzy with him. They're all in a huff. Because why? Because they're basically been dealing with Esau's shit as well. And they're looking like, yo, this guy is basically, well, these elites, they're keeping it all to themselves. That's why you got everyone all of a sudden becoming like the young up and coming Edomites all becoming like these socialist types where they're like, you need to spread the wealth of everyone, because they're seeing like certain guys getting away with murder and they're like, yo, I want a slice. This is what multitudes in the valley of decision, but the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. Yeah, multitudes in the valley of decision. And that's that day, man. That day that's going to be darkness and not light, where that judgment's going to take place. And it's basically going to be the Lord exercising his displeasure upon the heathen, man. And these, that's why these war games, we see them coming. It's beautiful, because it lets you know it's the spirit's moving. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom, Yabashim, Shabashim, Shalom.